What's up, everyone? And welcome back for the final time to the Dragon of Icespire Peak. I'm TommieTaco, the Dungeon Master, and joined here with me is Grizlocke. Grizlocke, for the last time, give me a fun little fact about Rumshoe.
Shit. My cat wants to tell you a fact.
Oh, yeah?
Rumshoe is, hold on, let me start over. I'm Grizlocke, I play Rumshoe, and he's gonna tell the whole world about the Icespire Pact.
Good secret to be kept when you share it with everyone. Then you don't ever have to worry about keeping it a secret ever again. Oh, next up, we have, I think it's Meyore.
Yeah, so I'm Meyore and I play Fevrin. And when Rumshoe tells everyone about the Icespire Pact, Fevrin is going to kidnap him and lock him in Icespire Peak.
Interesting.
Mhm.
BakaZombie.
Hello, BakaZombie, aka Sharp. I played Tarvalar, and Tarvalar won't find out if Rumshoe told anybody because he's in the castle working on the forest again.
And last but not least, we have DytoDnD.
Hello, I'm Dido. I play Donabella, and if anybody tells them about the Pact of Icespire Peak, she will be the one to know because she has the orb, and I'm sure Shard will not be very happy about it. So if you want to keep your head.
So, like the entire campaign as it has progressed, every touching moment has been completely destroyed by humor.
Oops.
Anyway,
Whoopsie.
anyway, this is the round table discussion where we're all going to get together. We're going to talk about our best moments, our thoughts on the campaign, answer a few questions, go over a few things that may have been missed in the story. And we're glad that all of you tuned in to watch this. This was my first time DMing D&D. I had a very enjoyable experience. I learned a lot. I can only thank my players for giving us a good show. There's no dungeon master without the players. There just isn't. You can pretend to be a dungeon master all you want, but at the end of the day, it's the players that will help the story progress, especially with their own unique perspectives on things. Just to go over a few things, when we last left off on the Dragon of Icespire Peak, they all made the Icespire Pact, vowing to hold on to this orb and learn about it and to discover any other orbs that may be out there in the world of Faerun. After you all made this pact, you explored the rest of the castle. So I'll go ahead and go over a few things. As you explored, you found a pair of speaking stones. Meyore, in particular, you found two things. You found frozen in a block of ice in the basement of Icespire Peak, or Icespire Hold, of a map that I created that you never went into the room to see. You found what looks to be a book, and etched into it in common was the Book of Fables. Next to this, you found the body of a frozen young man that you know all too well. As your
We
friend
all
Marcello.
we all went to the same spot.
We all held our breath.
We
We're
all
like,
went,
oh no.
oh no.
Also, you found in the back, after hearing some shuffling and investigating, a puppy that you once ordered
Oh no.
from Barthen's Provisions.
Oh.
Alive and well, with its own little bowl filled with dog food. No water bowl because there's ice. You can just lick the ice. Rumshoe, you found a nice little dagger made of goblin making. It's nothing special. It's not magical. but it looks like maybe it belonged to some people you might have known back in the day that the dragon probably decided to consume. Donabella, you found a book of
Ooh.
magical origin, but for some reason you can't put your finger on where it's from or what it is. It seems very ancient.
I
And
find this.
Tarvalar, you just wandered around looking at the walls.
That sounds right.
It's been a few months now. I'd say probably 2 months since the pact has been formed. You're all in Phandalin. Everything is going wonderfully. Krista was able to translate the book, which I will eventually give to y'all. It's too long. I wrote an entire journal for this, so there's no way I'm going to say it on stream. But eventually you kind of discovered that the Axholm was once a place where the dwarves lived, and that its leader had brought in a moon elf emissary from another land, seeking what they had heard about as being a magical orb. After eventually being caught trying to cast an evil spell onto the leader of Axholm, the elf was executed, then thrown in the catacombs. After hearing about some noises and some wails that had been going on in the catacombs, the leader and a band of her followers went into the catacombs and found that there were ghouls in the catacombs as well as the banshee. The 2 guards fell as the leader left, but succumbed to an oddly strange wound in the catacomb, which you all kind of come to the conclusion that the leader came out and eventually died and became a ghoul herself, thus infecting the rest of Axholm, which is why there were so many ghouls there and a lot of corpses. So you kind of come to the conclusion that the orb was eventually taken back from someone and brought back to the burrow. But as far as the story, it is concluded. The Dragon of Icespire Peak. So we're gonna go ahead and go in with some questions here. I've got all of them, I think, copied and pasted in this document. So the first thing I want to ask is, for all of you, and I forgot to write down the names of the people who asked these. I literally just highlighted this. Where did it go? Oh, will Rumshoe, this is for you, Grizz, if you can hear me. Will Rumshoe ever take Droop back on an adventure?
Hell no, he'd fucking die in a minute. Like, not even. Rumshoe was right when he said,
"Don't act like
stoic. You were nothing like him. He's a hero."
You faint at bar fights. So I think Dyto, you had asked this question. What was everyone's favorite moment inside the campaign? And it says also including the DM, but I will go last.
I don't think that was my question.
It wasn't?
Adam.
I don't think
I
so.
sworn that was you.
No, I asked one question. I don't remember what it was.
Oh, darn.
That's okay. We will still answer the question.
We will answer that question.
Nope, yeah, throw it out. Not Dyto's.
No, yeah, get out of here.
Oh, no.
I'll go first because mine's super easy. Sorry for the echo, by the way, guys. I just moved to a new place. There's no furniture in here yet, so soon. Anyways, my favorite part was, well, I had a lot of good parts, but the memory that comes to my head just going off the back of what we just talked about was that scene where Droop gave Rumshoe the miniature of Stoic that they use for Caverns and Campers, because that was just the best part. Was that was just like a special episode where I made up that they played Caverns and Campers, and then it turned into kind of canon that like they actually did that.
It is canon.
So,
I have made that canon.
So it's just it was a really cool scene, and it actually got me a little bit of a tear jerk. And then I had to be an asshole and tell Droop not to be like him. So I really liked that scene. It was fun.
What about you, Meyore?
So me, I think probably my favorite moment has to be it's during one of the one shots. I believe it was Droop's day off, where Rumshoe found out that he had his finger in his bag, because that damn near killed me. But as for the regular campaign itself, I'd have to say I really enjoyed when the dragon almost killed us all, because it gave me a fun turning point for Fevrin from an asshole into someone more enjoyable. So it was good. I liked it. Oh, and obviously your defense of Phandalin, that was a fun as hell episode.
Oh, true, dude. I'm taking mine back and going with that one.
I'm glad y'all enjoyed that. That was actually the third thing I ever planned for back in December before we even started this campaign. I wanted that to happen. BakaZombie.
I'm glad you guys said the defense of family, because that was one of mine, so I can use my other two then. So the first session, just having these characters interact with each other. First off, Rumshoe being in the game was great, because every time he'd like bring up the other characters, you're like, oh. But like going through Nomengard, like Rumshoe running that machine into a wall, and just all of us setting the pace for this campaign essentially in there was really fun. And I just thought of this, what my second one was. Hold on. I gotta remember it.
Fact,
Oh,
I
getting
later regretted setting that pace.
yeah. Getting to yell at Fevrin is fun too.
Yes.
You can use my dad voice, is great.
That was so good.
Yes,
And
it was.
Dido.
I've had it up to here, bud.
I've shown so many people the clip of Tarvalar losing his shit on Fevrin when he grabbed a twig blight and ran into the room with the vine blight. And then Tarvalar just being like, "Go put it back." Dido, what about you? What was your favorite moment in this campaign?
I mean, I guess it's kind of a culmination of a bunch of moments, but I loved the pranks that she pulled on Fevrin and like the lies that he just believed, like never questioned at all. Those were fun.
Meyore, I know this was like your first time playing in a full campaign, but there is something called an insight check.
Never.
Totally learn to use those when people when people are talking to you. As far as mine, I'll be honest, I've had a lot of time, like I've had 2 weeks to think about this question. And I really can't think of a singular moment that I found to be the best moment. I think it was mostly just, and this is really cliche, but it was running y'all through the game and seeing what y'all would do. That's what I really enjoyed. As far as the parts that made me laugh the most, Tarvalar was usually involved, slowly losing his shit, dealing with this group of rambunctious adventurers. But for like a good moment where I felt like, yes, you all deserve this, was the Dragon Barrow, when the dragon showed up and froze everyone to death. Except for Tarvalar, who decided not to go to the wagon where everyone would just be clustered together.
Well, no, I was on the wagon. I just lived it.
Oh, yeah, you did. You survived that. Only 3 more HP and Fevrin would have been dead immediately.
Yeah. I was the dumbass who was on a horse who rode next to the wagon.
And then Rumshoe and I ate that horse.
No, he was on the dead horse.
Yeah,
y'all got this kick-ass undead horse. Which was the book, it's over there. But it was kick-ass, and then it died literally the same episode.
I'll never forget Queen Anaconda.
I fucking do not like. That's actually my least favorite episode. Just that I have a favorite moment, but my least favorite episode was that episode.
I like that from a player standpoint because because as a player, I wasn't there when we went into the Dragon Barrow, but I was the one that the NPC asked, "Why are you here?" And all I had was the misinformation of the players. And it just made that scene just spiral out of control.
Fun fact, though, to go back to other people's favorite moments. So me and Grizz, I believe we talked about this. Eventually, we'll sit down, possibly, and talk about the differences between how the Essentials kit was written,
Oh,
the
yeah.
starter set was written. There is a lot of things that had to be changed in this campaign. There's literally no story in this campaign whatsoever. I read the book from cover to cover. Essentially, a dragon shows up, kind of disrupts the local ecosystem, and that's it. And the players are supposed to just start at a bounty board and they just do jobs. That is all. That's the entire campaign. So the whole orc raid on Phandalin was completely created from the ground up with the help of two people. We had help from Slimebasher, and we had help from Equa to help me create that encounter. Because the way that I had created the story, it would make sense based on lore of ages past that the orcs had descended on Phandalin at one point, or the area long ago, that eventually, maybe with how the story progressed, that the orcs would be banded back together and under the guidance of the dragon would descend upon Phandalin once again. And the players stopped it, which was, I really enjoyed making that. I really enjoyed that. It's not my favorite moment, but I really liked that you all very much enjoyed that session.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, it was a fun RP moment at the end where everyone's like, "Yeah."
I did like the way it ended with the,
It was a
with the
very- it
sunset glistening on the blade.
It was a
like
very good hero moment
Yeah.
Mhm.
that I think that sometimes season 1 of Phandalin didn't quite get.
How dare you?
How dare.
You say that when the DM is present? What the hell?
Not my DM.
Hashtag not my DM.
So this is a question for all of you. I believe this actually comes from Bumble. So who would win in a free-for-all amongst all of you?
Rumshoe.
Well,
Rumshoe's
the way
first
these
one to
idiots
die.
keep going down without their healer, I don't know how well they fare.
But a smart person kills the healer first.
Oh.
Good luck.
I
I don't know.
I think
Donabella having Shard, I think, just puts the odds in her favor. She has
Yeah.
high AC, and she has an extra person.
Plus, he's the chosen one, so.
Everyone goes for
He's the
Shard.
chosen one.
It's horrifying. No one wants that near them.
I think it's gonna go one of two ways. Fevrin would be the first to die, or he would win it all.
I like it.
Because that's kind of how all of Doip went. First half, he was just always dying. And then you just couldn't kill him.
I feel like it's like first half Fevrin wins it all, second half Fevrin dies because he's trying to get everyone to stop fighting.
So here's what my strategy would be. I would entangle somebody, and then wild shape and hide until that person died, and then just pick them off from there.
You gotta play the long game. We call that the long game in battle
Yeah.
royales.
If I can't roll
Hide,
well,
wait.
other people can on them.
Yeah, Fevrin immediately dash away and go for stealth so he can crossbow Rumshoe or something.
Yeah, I feel like Rumshoe and Fevrin would be like at each other's throats. That was like
Well,
a
I don't know. I
case.
could.
reoccurring theme throughout the series was Rumshoe and Fevrin competing. and everything.
That was true, especially with it started. I think it started out with the golden bell, or did it start before that?
It might have been before. No, I think it started with the finger because the finger was before the
It
bell, right?
did. 5-finger
Yeah, the finger
fillet.
was-
Yeah,
Mhm.
5-finger fillet.
It was fun.
That's definitely true.
Yeah, because I made your finger shortly after I made Shard.
Does anybody
And that
remember
was before the bell.
which finger it was? Because I don't.
I don't either. I have to go back and watch that.
Is it like-
I think it was a ring finger.
Ring
It was a
finger.
ring
Okay.
finger.
I had a distinct feeling it was a ring finger too. So
Okay, we
it might
all
be one of those.
agree. Okay,
His ring finger is now
metal.
it's fake.
Yeah.
Fake thingy. No magic thingy coming from that. Oops,
Oh,
sorry.
God. Zelda reminded me that I tried to feed all the guards questionable meat. It was gonna be a crime spree that Sildar thankfully averted.
Dude, you would have lost like so much. Like you would have been kicked out of the group if you actually did that. Because like yeah, at the time you didn't understand Rumshu's like connection to the town was super strong.
Yeah, he was the town pet. So I mean, definitely don't go in there. Have you ever played Fable? Have you ever played Fable, Meyore?
Yeah.
What happens when you kick a chicken?
Oh God, it's been too long. I only played 2 and 3.
Everyone hates you. So don't kick the
Just
town
like in real
chicken.
life.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
It's true.
Don't go kicking chickens.
exactly. Oh, I'm going kind of high up on this Q&A here. I'm getting into moot territory.
Moot.
Ooh.
Oh, here you go. This was actually asked by Nisa. Tarvalar, have you ever found the food that you most enjoy? Because I know you don't eat meat. So
Well, he can now that Devourlar's gone. It was just like he would always give it to Devourlar.
I thought Tarvalar was more of a vegetarian.
No, I think I
because of his
used that as one of
connection to
my
nature.
facts at one point. Is that he is a vegetarian only because he feeds all his meat to Devourlar.
That is true. You did say that.
That's sweet.
I don't know. This is one thing I don't really think about with my characters is what they eat, so it's hard to bring that up. It'd be something with berries, I think. Yeah, I have no idea. 100% honest with you.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
Beverin, now that you have your puppy, what do you do with it? And do we let him? Is the other question to the other players.
Elsa is back in town at this point.
Fevrin already laid the pitcher back to Grista on the bar. So now he will just raise Thello to be his little companion and backup. And maybe, since I'm pretty sure he can eventually learn speak to animals, he really will be backup. So yeah, he's gonna be a little buddy for sure. But no jars for Thello.
Okay. So I'm saying we can let him have them then. No need to say that he ran away. Catch my
But
drift.
Fevrin would definitely be pestering Tarvalar for helping train him. Tarvalar,
I don't
tell
know
him
how to train a dog, but
But you can talk to him.
so can you. Just use your words like with your horse.
That was a fun.
I did like role playing it that way, where because furbolgs have a racial feature where they can talk to plants and animals, but the plants and animals can't talk back to them, so they understand what you're saying. So I started with I would just talk to things, and then eventually I started trying to convince the rest of the party they could also do it.
So this I think actually came from Bumble, and I believe this is directed towards me. So are there parts of the adventure that you omitted? Yes and no. None of the parts of the adventure were omitted out of necessity for the story. But as far as the pacing and a good ending point, yes. There's actually 3 quests that they didn't do. I'm not going to name what they are in case anyone wants to use them in the future for Swindler's Den. But there are 3 quests that they did not go on to or go do. Uh, but that was simply because of pacing reasons. It had nothing to do with it didn't fit into the story. Fun fact though, there is a banshee. There's another banshee in the game that you stumble across, as well as a talking crab.
Mm.
Oh.
I actually planned for that quest because it's a pretty interesting quest, and the things that you can find in that quest are pretty cool. But it was kind of way out of the way. It didn't make any sense with the area y'all were in, especially for the level requirement. So it kind of got pushed off to the wayside. Um, Other than that, no. Nothing
Was
was
that
omitted ahead of time. It was always omitted due to pacing.
that tower Dyto wanted to go to?
Yes, it was the tower Dyto wanted to go to that was way the fuck out of the way on the shore of the Sword Coast.
I wanted to go to that haunted tower.
It is a pretty cool quest. Um, as far as the Essentials kit, there is in the Essentials kit obviously quests that go beyond this. Another fun fact, you were all supposed to be level 6 before you finished this adventure, but after I saw how y'all did at level 5, I was like, no, screw you, you're gonna stay level 5, and you still completely decimated the dragon. So
That dragon stood no chance.
it
Nope.
didn't, especially since it's a white dragon, and in lore, they're cocky as shit. If it had been flying around, maybe it could have done something. But Sharp came in with that clutch moment with keeping it in just entrapped in vines, so it couldn't move. So it got decimated.
That was slick. Oh, I got one for you, Taco. You mentioned yesterday there was some shit you would have shut down right at the beginning. You had a session 0.
You will have to remind me of what that shit is.
Oh,
I
you
don't
did
remember that.
I don't
said
think
there
you elaborated.
you would have shut down.
You are also kind of cutting out for me there, so I don't really know what you're asking.
Hold on, is this better?
Yeah, I can hear you better.
Okay. Yeah, no. I just in the stream the other day you said there was just some stuff you would have shut down immediately had you actually had a session 0.
Oh, if
But
I
you
had a session 0, yeah, there would have been a lot of shit that was shut down. A lot of it comes from how your character acted near the until the end. Um, which honestly I liked. It showed actual character growth, and development. But there's a lot. When I say shut some stuff down, it was more like I wish I would have had a session 0 to go. That way everyone was together and we all talked about our characters in that, so that we would have known how each character would meld with the other instead of stumbling along for a few episodes.
Yeah.
That was something I learned. Definitely in the future, if I ever run another game on Swindler's Den, there will definitely be a session 0, as well as a few other things I learned with it. But I still had fun with it. Enjoyed it a great deal. Great deal.
Yeah. So everybody, I'm just announcing now. This will be Tommy's last appearance ever on the channel. So say goodbye to him now.
Session 0. No, yeah. As a fellow DM, session 0s are so fucking sexy. They work so well. Like it's very rare you get a group that actually, like right from the gate, is like, we're gonna do this together. Like Phandalin worked really well out of the gate, where it's like we're all kind of here together. We're not gonna fuck around with each other. But there a lot of campaigns, people have their character in their mind, and if you don't like have them meld with other characters, they are just going to play their character and they don't care about the others. So it really messes with the game.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, session 0s are very important.
They definitely are.
Even if it's just to create relationships between the other players.
Set tones for the game, set expectations for what the players expect from you and what you expect from them, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that was one thing I think I was early in the game. I was trying to figure out, like, why Fevrin is still hanging around. And then I kind of had to just think of like, well, he probably needs money if he's out here
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
for this book and whatnot. So he can do a couple jobs, and then like he got connected to everybody. So, but yeah, no, that's interesting.
There was actually a question pointed towards you, Meyore. And I'm trying to find it. I thought I wrote it down. It's a really good question. Let's see what would.
Was the one asking about what got me to
Comment.
love roleplay?
Yes, that was it. I thought I saved this.
Yeah, that was definitely Fevrin's prayer to the void, essentially. Trying to ask for anything that could possibly help after the dragon almost killed us all. Like, I don't know, that was just fun. I tried to make it legit, and maybe it may be a little narcissistic, but I did go back and watch it a couple times and I was like, yeah, that was pretty good. But I was like, yeah, no, you can like do quite a bit with this. Like, I wasn't exactly trying to dick around or anything at first, but like, I don't know. It was like at that point I had like really started like, if you look at Taco and I's chats, there's like, oh yeah, Taco, I think like this and this and this and this and this and this and this
So
and this.
many fucking questions.
Yeah. That was when I was like, oh hey, like I'm actually like trying to make a person as opposed to like this just character or whatever.
Yeah.
Which reminds me of whenever I played Phandelver, because Zorag was never supposed to be like he was a write-off in my book. If he died, he died. But eventually it got to the point where it's like, I want to add depth to this person. Like what can I do to instead of having this two-dimensional character, how do I make him three-dimensional and add layers upon layers? So I like that. Whenever you started asking me those questions, I liked it. Because it meant that you wasn't going to continue to be this little shithead in the campaign. And I was like, man, I love Meyore to death. He's got a beautiful smile, but this guy's really pissing me the fuck off. But to take away from, we're going to branch away here from the Q&A for a second. And I want to ask the players a few questions just for them. And it was, not what was your best moments in the game, but overall, how did you feel about it? The game that you were in, what did you think about your characters, stuff like that? And I want to start this out with Grizlocke. As far as playing Rumshoe, which originally he was not going to play Rumshoe, he was actually thinking about playing a different character.
Yeah.
So since you decided on playing Rumshoe, looking back, how do you feel about that decision to to play the favorite NPC of Phandelver Season 1?
Okay, so mixed bag here. All in all, I think it was a good decision because Rumshoe's so fun. He's fun to play. He's fun to be. And he fits my playstyle. I typically play like comedic kind of playstyle. Not always, but like that's kind of my go-to. So I'm comfortable in that area. So that was good. I think though there was a little too much chaos in this party. So, Rumshoe probably didn't help with the chaos part of things, but it was kind of cool because Rumshoe got to like kind of take a leadership position. I feel like he was, I don't necessarily know if we had a leader, but for the first like mission or two, I feel like Rumshoe was, just because he knew the area and he knew Sildar and all the important people. I think after that, it slowly everybody took a lead role more. But in the beginning, it was cool to see him gain that leadership role. It was complete 180 from Phandelver when he was a little shit. Which, yeah.
Dragging his body across the floor of the sleeping giant, calling for Droop as he passed out.
And then the thing I kept saying out of game was that Rumshoe getting player levels was the worst thing that could have happened.
Yes.
Now he's too powerful.
Well, he's really the
cocky.
same level. He's the same level as Phandelver.
Yeah. And he's a cocky little shit now because he's strong and he's killed a dragon. So should be interesting for
something
season 2.
Zorag couldn't do. Oh my god, I just thought of that. I will fucking kill Rumshoe in Phandelver Season 2 if he starts talking smack about how he killed a dragon and that he's better than. I will kill that little goblin bastard.
Now he has to do it.
Now he has
Oh.
to.
For anybody wondering, the alternate universe where Grizz decided not to play Rumshoe, he played. He would have been a. It would have changed everything because I would have been a wizard, Air Genasi, and that means that Orlin wouldn't have been a wizard. So could have changed things in a few shows. But yeah, it was playing Rumshoe was totally worth it because just the look on freaking Baka's face when Rumshoe was announced that was worth the entire show to me. So
There was a lot of secrets involved with that, which is funny because Baka was actually in the chat where I let it slip that Rumshoe was in this game, but I didn't say if he was a player character.
Oh yeah.
And so I feel like I kind of took away from that. So Sharp, that's a question for you, Sharp. Did you know that Rumshoe would be a playable character in this campaign?
No, I thought Grizz was gonna be the wizard. Like he brought up he's gonna be a ranger too at some point because he's so flip floppy on his character for this, as with Icewind Dale as well. But no, I didn't know he was gonna play Rumshoe, as probably my face showed. I could assume Rumshoe would be in here somewhere because it's very shortly after the first season, and Rumshoe was in that town. Well, he was sent back to that town after. So, but yeah, no, it was an amazing surprise.
And just to clarify for all the viewers, this takes place about 3 months after Lost Mine of Phandelver. So there's been some time in the town, things have been happening. And so Rumshoe would definitely be involved there, as well as Droop. Which I loved playing Droop, even though I'm terrible at doing the voice.
freaking Kermit, dude.
I thought it was pretty fun. Because, Droop isn't going to sound
I'm gonna try my
exactly
best.
like Rumshoe.
And
You can do it.
In
Just
season
do
2, I'm gonna do my
you.
best fucking Kermit.
Hi, Robert.
I'm Kermit the Frog. I feel like that's
It
what
didn't
Droop
sound
sounded
like
like
that.
to me. I don't know
It
why.
didn't sound like
No,
that. Oh my god.
It did have Kermit vibes.
It did have Kermit vibes, but it wasn't hardcore Kermit. So for you, Baka, same question. I know originally when we were talking about you making a character, it wasn't so much that you wanted to have like a big standing point in this campaign as far as a character, but slowly you did become this focal point in the campaign for your character. I know this because as the time progressed, I would read the chats and everything. I would see Tarvalar was up there on the list. People were talking about him. And so you still kind of became that, even though you wasn't wanting that in particular, with Devourlar as your little pet. How did you feel about Tarvalar overall? Honestly, I think he's one of my favorite characters ever.
Yeah.
I was actually on Facebook and saw someone made a comic strip about a furbolg giving someone a hug in the woods because he was trying to console him and give him a life lesson. And I immediately thought of you. And I put in the comment, I literally ran a player through a campaign who was a furbolg, and it was one of my favorite characters I've ever played with. Because of just what you would say.
Yeah, well, coming off of Lost Mine of Phandelver, where I was playing Volida, who was very much the driving force of the story. Like, we're gonna go do this now. This is where we're going now. And that's kind of the characters I play in campaigns, is the let's go do some shit kind of things. So I was like, I just want to take a back seat. I just want to play a full-on healer, and I will sit in the back and let everybody else have a story. That will be I want to do something different. And you were asking for his backstory and stuff. I'm like, that he doesn't really have one, and he's just there. And it kind of opened up to allow me to be I can make strange comments in the background and just add where I need to, so things are more poignant. I guess it isn't the right word. Like when he talks, it's more important, and those things stick with you, is what I think ended up happening. Yeah, 100%. It was just say I'm just gonna have a fun character and let other people have a story, outside of me. Which we got to see Fevrin have his little story, which was really fun, and Rumshu got to grow and all this fun stuff. So I'm glad I did it, but still was able to be a backbone to the group, and make sure they didn't all die.
Yeah.
Tarvalar came in
You-
clutch so many times.
Especially with that healing.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
because Tarvalar effectively could heal technically three times, per round. Because if he set up, what the hell is it called? Healing Spirit, the previous round, that heals on a player's turn, and then on his turn, and that's like there's a modifier. Towards the end, it could heal 8 times before it disappear. And then on his turn, he could cast healing touch or whatever the crap it is. Like on his action he could heal, and then his bonus action he could use his Balm of the Summer Court, which is a druid thing from the Circle of Dreams, which would also heal. So you could just pump the heals. I remember, I think it was the Were Rat fight. I was just pumping heals into people the whole fight, which is good because his attacks suck. They're bad, as we found out a few times.
A
Like
lot
when
of twos that you
a lot of
use as
twos,
first
bud.
damage.
I think you were also doing that in that Wraith fight too.
Yeah. I would just like take position in the back so that I wasn't an immediate target, and they'd have to like get through people to get to me, and then just pump heals. So, yeah, that's what I built him to do, and he did it well. Eventually, I ended up taking a cantrip that could actually do damage. I took Thorn Whip, but at that point, the healing was just so much more important. So,
Yeah. Thanks for
Got to
not
see a
letting
couple
Rumshu
swings.
die. I need him still.
you gotta keep him alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to go back, so I'll do this with each person. Because I was asked by Bumble, Bumble asked a similar question, but in a different way. Dyto, you had asked what was everyone's favorite moments, and I said it was just, me being able to run you all through a game. So instead, I'll go with each of the favorite moments I had with each of you. So just to backtrack for a second, as I ask the same question to all of you, Grizz with Rumshu, as far as making something for the character, and believe it or not, everyone, this was a last second thing. And I know that Grizz was saying that he liked that the moment between Rumshu and Droop of the little miniature for the Caverns and Campers was like a good moment to him. I made that up literally on the spot because something else was supposed to happen in that episode. I'm not going to disclose what it was, but I just happened to think of it because I just got done watching Caverns and Campers, which was honestly one of my favorite episodes I've ever seen as far as D&D comes. It's just the whole, like, we're on an adventure, let's sit down and pretend like we're on an adventure at a bar. I really like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that you like that little moment that just happened to be created right there. Baka, as far as with Tarvalar, I really liked being able to have that moment where you let Tarvalar go, which ties into the idea that you wanted to be a backseat character, but everyone grew attached to you and this pet that you had, and you just let it go. And the best moment of that is whenever you learn. I'm thinking this all the time, and Sharp will agree with this because I bring it up so many times. Whenever he actually sees the Wild Mother for the first time instead of just visions, and when she leaves, he just takes these fucking goggles off for a second, like, these are some crazy goggles, I tell you what. I just laughed my ass off because I love Sharp's ability to hear something and immediately snap back with something. And immediately come up with something that just fits the situation and the character. And that totally fit Tarvalar. So with that said, Donabella, let's go with you. I will say I liked the monk idea you had originally with the crazy hair flip.
Yeah.
I honestly wish you would have played that over
I kind of
Donabella.
if we would have had a session 0, and I would have known the kind of person Fevrin was playing, that he was going to be, I would have made that monk character. Because the way I picture Fevrin in my head is Flynn Rider from Rapunzel, and my monk was based off Rapunzel.
Mm-hmm.
Which is still, like, it's based off of a pre-existing IP or character, but it had a uniqueness to it.
Yeah.
Where you're a monk, okay, you've got hair, you can do crazy shit, base it off of Rapunzel, but it had these cool little features. But that's not what happened. Let's go and focus in on Donabella here. This turtle from Silvery Moon. How did you feel about this character overall, given the campaign, how it progressed and how it ended? What are your thoughts on Donabella? Like, what was your best moments for her? What did you really like about her? What are some of the things you didn't like? Focus in on this character. I want to know more about this character and how you felt about her.
With Donabella, like, she wasn't like charismatic or like outwardly just anything really. Like, she was very intellectual, very in her head. This was the first time she had ever been outside of a library for more than let me walk around the block. This was her first time she was unsupervised and she could just figure out who she was, and what she liked to do. And in the beginning, she had this puzzle box that she was always messing with and fiddling with, and it wasn't very noticeable, but as the campaign went on, she realized that there were other things that she could do to curb her intellectual desire for like information and for tinkering. And a lot of that came from making Rumshoe's bow, being able to put the magic on that, and his shoe, eventually creating Shard, who is now the chosen one and the keeper of the orb. I didn't expect that at all. Like, I just expected Shard to be a meat shield. Like,
I honestly didn't, like, when I created the whole orb idea, which is not a part of the campaign, everyone. It's not a part of the campaign. If you get the Essentials kit, which Meyore, you can now read it. It's okay for you to read. That wasn't a part of it. And I didn't even think about Shard. Like, oh, this orb's going to fuck with anyone who picks it up. It's like, Shard's a construct. This isn't going to affect him.
yeah.
But it's one of those moments where the DM kind of puts himself into a corner and he's like, damn it, I gotta do what the players are doing. The bastards.
You bastards.
So as far as my favorite moment from Donabella, I wouldn't say there's a particular moment, but I would say it was the overall culmination of, like, what you were saying earlier about fucking with Fevrin. I love that dynamic of just this person's like very literature based, very not like intelligence based as far as studying constantly and then coming out into the world to do her own thing. And then immediately, oh, you're a pretty boy. You're an asshole. Like,
Yeah,
right
see,
out the gate.
As
Like, that's how it started.
as soon as Fevrin in character opened his mouth, I was like, Donabella doesn't like him. Like, it wasn't like it was more of like he has qualities that she wishes she had kind of hate. And it more turned into kind of like a brotherly sister kind of, oh, I can make you believe things that aren't really real. Let me just set off this firework to wake you up.
Oh, to backtrack here, especially with how you originally thought of Fevrin. Now that Donabella has known Fevrin a little bit longer and gotten to understand actually who he is, how would Donabella feel about him now, knowing that he wasn't just a standard pretty boy? So none of you knew this. I actually knew this about Fevrin, especially with how he acted and everything. It was a front the whole fucking time, because this dude had been through some shit in his backstory. He wrote me a big fucking backstory. And I was like, damn, it's actually a good layered character. Now, how you played him for the first 11 sessions had me being like, yo, man, you want to chill the fuck out on what you're doing? But how would Donabella feel about Fevrin now that she knows about his past, about being locked away for so long, and how he was a street urchin?
I think it showed in our RP together, like how she viewed him as his actions and his words kind of changed. Like she stopped really calling him the pretty boy, or like, oh, you're just gonna smolder or something. Like it was more like, it more became like friendly pranks and like, okay, he's got something. Than just the bad mouthing him all the time that she was doing at the beginning.
My biggest dynamic between both of you that I liked was the fact that it's a very cliche thing, but it's like, don't judge a book by its cover. So Donabella, being from a lifetime spent with books and learning about things from a literature standpoint, but not really going out and experiencing things, would read about something and then believe that she would understand what this was, and then eventually finding out, oh, that's not who this person is. He's actually something else. He acts this way, but it's not really what's going on in the background. So to me, it was a good dynamic that really, again, it's cliche, but it's something to learn from in a real world perspective, that maybe, the person who's acting like an idiot, get to know them a little bit. They might not be exactly who you think they might be right off the get-go. And I really loved that, especially with how y'all kind of came together near the third quarter, the end of the third quarter into the climax and the ultimate finale of the game itself. I really like that.
I think
Everyone were frontliners.
they were. I loved the twist when the rogue got the. I mean, it's not min-max, so I mean, my min-max brain is like, why would you give this to the rogue? But it gave a good RP where Fevrin spent the whole first half. I'm gonna hide behind Donabella. She's gonna be my shield. Nothing can get to me if I'm hiding behind her. And then it was like, wait a second. Fevrin's got these, like, all-powerful gloves. And he's got the sword. I get to hide behind him for a change.
Another good thing, and I just remembered this, a funny moment. And you know what? I'll get to that later. I'll ask y'all what y'all's funniest moments were. What made you laugh the hardest, or what you thought was just over the top, just ridiculous. Eventually, but to continue on with this question, Meyore, how do you feel about Fevrin as he progressed through this? Go ahead and do your burp, and then answer the question. Meyore as a character, as far as everyone here, everyone either played a backseat character or a character that was understandably didn't need a large backstory. You, on the other hand, your first foray into an entire campaign for D&D. I know you had told me that you had played Dungeons and Dragons back in college, but very minuscule amount. It was very light. And then when you were invited to play Dragon of Icespire Peak, you actually kind of dove headfirst into this. As far as creating a character, how do you feel about Fevrin and how you played him? Do you have any like big regrets on how you played this character, or do you like how you played the character and where it led to eventually?
Yeah, no, I definitely enjoy where it led. I think one of the most interesting things about, like, just the moment I remember playing D&D, like, just like when we were in the first cave where Fevrin is literally like trying to shove Rumshu out of the way to get this emerald or whatever, that I as a person know is gonna screw me over, like, just actually choosing to still like, nah, Fevrin's into this. Like, it's just very interesting to like go against what you personally feel as opposed to what you think your character would feel, which that was really fun. But as for the growth aspect, yeah, I really enjoyed, because at first, like, he was, because, like, when I play stuff, I'm always like, oh yeah, like, let's be the very good, like, big shining knight guy or whatever. So I'm like, let me make someone who's kind of like the opposite of that. But then, of course, I had to come up with some sort of backstory, so we
A
figured that.
generic rogue.
Yeah, yeah. And
I'm kidding. I'm joking.
but then over time, of course, it slowly kind of changed into what my stereotypical thing kind of is, but it was like fun to have this metamorphosis. And especially since the backstory actually grew the further we got into things, to kind of explain some things and add a little bit of 3D. Because I know at one point my girlfriend made the comment of like, is anyone like real? Like, you don't seem like real people. And I was like, yeah, like, I need to add a little bit of meat to actually make this a person, as opposed to just like an archetype.
I wish your girlfriend was here right now, because she would be the one, I think, not you, for you eventually reining your shit in and creating the character that has development. I would literally I would buy y'all a house for your wedding. I'm joking. I'm not going to do that. But that's how much I want to thank her for making that comment, for you to be like, yeah, I should add some 3 dimensions to this character. For
But
you, my favorite moment was when you grabbed that. There's actually 2 for you. One is when you grabbed the green orb, the emerald, and that blew up in your fucking face, while Rumshoe's in the background being like, what the fuck? Why would you do that? And the other moment is when the dragon nearly killed your ass, and you realized, oh, I should change. And Tarvalar's like, oh, it only took you 4 times, but
yeah.
I loved it. I loved it.
And then like a props to you, which it's like totally a minor thing because you just came up with it on the spot. But I really enjoyed my Dragonborn interaction where like I'm just going once again trying to talk to anything that'll listen, and then he kind of comes out of nowhere. And then it's like, old Fevrin probably would have just been like, oh shit, like I gotta take care of this guy, get him out of here. Whereas now it's like, let me put that aside and try to like make things better. So that
I actually created that character, that specific Dragonborn character, and had a token for him and everything. But I was waiting for a good moment for when he would show up. Originally, he was supposed to show up at the Stonehill Inn and cause a ruckus, and you would all have to fight in the Stonehill Inn. But I felt like it felt kind of forced, like heavy-handed, so to speak, to implement that into the story. So when you went to the shrine and started asking questions and stuff, I felt like that was a good moment. And I was trying to buy time because Baka had been asleep, and we were still waiting for him to come back in. So I was like, this is a good moment. Why not? And I fully expected you to fight this guy, but you kept talking like all this stuff. So maybe, who knows? Maybe he might make an appearance later on. That's in Grizz's court now.
Yeah. That's exciting. Hey everybody, stay tuned for Phandelver Season 2 on Swindler's Den, because any of these characters could appear, especially Tarvalar if I kill Volida, which will happen.
Wish you would make a fucking announcement of when it's starting, because I want to play freaking Zorag again. If anyone who's been watching my stream, you would have seen for the last 3 days I've been drawing Zorag on my tablet because I'm so excited to play him again.
I want to see Grizz be a stuttering mess when he has to NPC voice Donabella.
Ah, true. Unless I just have
That'll
you
be
play
interesting.
Donabella when she shows up. Then I don't have to do it.
That's the best way to do it. Like I should have brought Equa back for Orthello. That was actually going to be a thing for you, Fevrin. Orthello was going to show up in the finale, but I felt that we were pressed for time and stuff like that, so I kind of ultimately cut that out. But anyway, let's go ahead and take a quick break, a quick little 10-minute break, and we'll get back to talking more about how the campaign went with Dragon of Icespire Peak and answering any more questions.
Yata?
So we will see y'all soon. Welcome back, everyone, to the roundtable discussion of Dragon of Icespire Peak. The talk after the campaign. Let's get back into it. So one big thing is, like what you were saying, Grizz, is how did everyone feel about the campaign? Did you like? What are your thoughts on it? Did you enjoy it?
Who should go first?
Grizz.
I will
Go
go
ahead.
first because I am the most brutal of people.
Yeah, beat the shit out of me.
No, it's not out of you. So I'm specifically taking this from the pre-written adventure standpoint. I think if you hadn't added the story to it, this is probably one of the weakest pre-writtens out there. If you were a new player looking to play D&D, get the starter set, not the Essentials kit, because I think the Essentials kit sucks.
The Essentials kit literally just adds more traps to the game.
Yeah.
Which they didn't really go to those adventures that had the most traps.
If you're a creative DM like Tommy, who's going to add a story to it and stuff like that, definitely you can pick up the Essentials kit. But if you're not confident in your abilities to craft that story yet, say you're a new DM doing it for new players and you're not confident in creating custom content, the starter set's going to be your thing to go to, I think. Does that make sense?
To jump in on that, the Essentials kit is for a DM who hasn't homebrewed before and they want to try their hand at it.
I would say, yeah. That's accurate. That's very
because
accurate based on what I read.
It gives you a world, it gives you the fundamentals, but it still gives you that creativity to be able to put your own into it. That's what it's good for.
I will say, going with what she just said, with gives you a world, it does actually say in the Essentials kit, it gives you descriptions of locations. It even gives you descriptions of locations that the players don't even really go to. It's just if they happen to go there, here's a little bit of lore for that location. It is definitely sandboxy. It is a very which is why I wouldn't say it's a terrible thing. There are people who go out there and love sandbox type games. You can make a sandbox out of this if you want to. But if you're looking to run players, like Grizz said, through a game that has a story and you're not confident really in making a story, I would pick up the starter set, because the starter set's got a good little story for it. It's got lore with specific characters, which the Essentials kit does not have any description of characters. Like where they're from, what they're doing, none of that. Sildar isn't even in this. It's the original town master.
Yeah, that was
Harbin Wester.
That's something
which
we should.
He doesn't even do anything. He stays in his house the entire campaign and gives gold to the people who complete the bounties under the fucking door.
Yeah.
You never meet him unless your character just barge in and B&E style.
Right.
We're going GTA on him.
And that's another thing we should add is that some things were changed in DoIP because they took place in the RCU, which it's now been referred to, the Rumshoe Cinematic Universe, for you guys that don't know, because Phandelver Season 1 obviously was before this show, and they're in the same universe. So some things were had to be changed, like Sildar becoming Town Master, because that happened in Phandelver. So yeah. So if there's any weird changes like that, you're like, oh, I don't know why they did that. It's probably because it was a joined universe thing.
And just to clarify on that, I actually thought about making this in an alternate universe, but I was like, hey, it would be cool if it took place during the same time frame. Just after. Not before, but, after the events of Phandelver, because the way Phandelver ended, it was one of those things where it's like, well, let's continue with this, because there's going to be a little time before Phandelver Season 2, so let's continue the story, but with other people for the time. It's like a spin-off series, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
There will be no Season 2 of the Essentials kit. Maybe, and this is a big maybe, the players you see here might run some of the missions that take place after the established Essentials kit until they had written more stuff for it. But there's no guarantee on that. I'm not planning on it. Possibility, but don't hold your breath. But to continue on with the questions, the same question, Dyto, what did you think about the campaign? What are your and your biggest regret of the campaign? Like, what do you wish would have happened in the campaign? So the original question and that question.
I liked what we got. I don't know, maybe it would have been different if it was like ran like it was supposed to. It would have been completely different. But I liked the story. I liked the character's progression. I liked how everywhere we went, there was a reason for us to be there, to connect to it. The biggest regret is, I don't know. I think there could have been a lot more integration for the characters. Like, there was still a lot, but with it being a module, they don't really allow for anything outside of the setting. So not having that is a little bit of a bummer. But you made up for that with Fevrin, with me, with everybody.
Which goes back to what we were talking about during the break. It's like, that I'll get to that eventually.
Yeah, that's the only thing I don't like about running modules, is that if you want to bring up something that's not in the module and the DM isn't like on their toes about it, it's just like, okay, how do we sideline this? Because I don't have an answer.
That's a good point. It's a good point. Anything else you want to add to that? Like, as far as like what you liked about the campaign, what you didn't like about the campaign, anything like that? Is there anything you would like to elaborate on with your assessment of the Essentials kit and the game itself?
Well, I mean, I kind of said my piece when Grizz also answered his question.
Yeah.
That because after we finished, I read through it, and it is almost completely different, and it's really like, you go here, you do this. Well, why am I going to do this? To get paid.
That's essentially the Essentials kit. Like, it's literally it tells you in the book, everyone starts at a bounty board. They're just bounty people. That's all they are. And, which is interesting. You could spin that in a way to where it could turn into a story. So if you're like a DM that likes homebrewing stuff, you could spin that angle.
Yeah,
for your benefit.
Bounty hunters.
Yeah, it's like, we're going here to, we're just adventurers looking for our bag.
That goes into session 0, pre-session 1 kind of stuff, where if you're gonna run this, you could say, hey, do you guys all want to be bounty hunters? And that's how you all know each other, and you're here in town at the bounty board. Boom.
I also really liked the raid on Phandalin. Like, it really gave us like how you made us feel about the attacks on Phandalin, especially for Donabella. It gave her a sense of attachment to the town instead of, oh, I'm just gonna be here to make this money and get this loot. You actually made us care about the people in the town and protecting them. And then the raid on Phandalin just brought that all together.
Got to make us feel pretty badass too.
I totally made y'all overpowered for that. I'm sure both Bumble and Eco are like, that's not what we talked about. Meyore, same question. How'd you feel about the campaign? What did you enjoy? You're new to the whole long game, so to speak, instead of the short game of one shots.
This
actually creating character development for your character. Go ahead, Grizz, real quick.
Like this whole thing, the Essentials kit, was designed for people like you who haven't really played D&D much or at all, for newbies. So
it is for newbies. I will say, after reading through the Essentials kit, though, it does seem that like it does write itself, which is the biggest reason why I was kind of disappointed with what I read. It does kind of assert itself as being a module that you are familiar with D&D, because
Interesting.
it kind of goes into somewhat, it's not advanced, but it kind of starts adding more stuff that maybe a new DM and new players wouldn't just immediately throw themselves into. It feels like a starter set 1.25, not even a 1.5. A 1.25 with a lot of steps back as far as creating a story and making itself feel more of like a sandbox aspect with no story. Just here's different missions with different goals. That's it. And it throws you into different like aspects of the game itself without being really coherent. So I feel like they could have made something good out of it, but maybe Wizards was like, "Hey, we're gonna just create a culmination of different aspects of the game and try to tie them in and make a product. And if you want to run it as it is, you're good to go. But you might want to add some more stuff to it if you want it to be like, just sprinkle the salt on the steak kind of meme. But Meyore, sorry. Let's continue on with
You're
this
good.
question.
Yeah, so like my previous experience with D&D, literally the only sessions I've ever had is like a part of a class. I had to DM the Goblin Ambush of the starter set, like because it was like this gaming antiquity class. It was like all about story writing and whatnot, and connecting that to Greek and Roman society. Anyways, so it was that.
Wait. Rewind real quick. What did
Uh-huh.
you just say? It had to connect what?
So my first like interaction with D&D was a part of a class called Gaming Antiquity, and it was in the Greek and Roman Studies department. And it was all about like coming up like story writing and how you present things and how that connected to like Greek and Roman society, like all the old, poets and whatnot and how they did things. So,
Well,
and
you
we,
heard
we
it
also
here
got
first, folks.
Skyrim
If
and
you go
had
to
to
college and study Greek mythology, you'll learn about D&D.
Yeah. And then other than that, a friend she kind of like tried to use someone's homebrew, and we did one session of that, and that was it. So at least for the campaign itself, like, so I've read through the starter set now because I am planning on DMing that soon. And then before our final session, like when I knew that was the last one, I just sort of like skimmed through the DoIP book, everything but the end.
You didn't
And
read Icespire Hold, right? I know
no,
if you're lying, I'll roll an insight like you didn't do for the entire fucking duration of the campaign.
yeah. So I didn't read the end, but it was very much so, like you said, like it's kind of okay, like you're here and there's a dragon, I guess, which is causing some shenanigans. Can you guys, I don't know, go do that? Here's some money if you do. Whereas like compared to the starter set, like I really like how it's like you have Gundren, you are on a mission, like let's do this. You're, oh my god, you're being ambushed. Whereas like this, like in the very beginning, I think some people even said so on YouTube. Like it was like a little awkward because we're all kind of just like walk up to the board and it's like, hey guys, we all want to do this together.
That's literally a lot of the YouTube videos I've seen of people playing this. They just start at the bounty board, and you can kind of feel the awkwardness even with session zeros of like, so are we doing this? It's like, yeah, we're gonna do this, and they go off. I will say, for 2 groups I played, um, the beginning intro of the Essentials kit, and you both chose Guard, which I almost took out of the campaign because of how freaking stupid it is. But they killed the Mimic last night, so kudos to them. As far as your regret, what's your biggest regret? Like, not really. Yeah, what's your biggest regret? Like, what do you wish would have been different? Like, is there any moment in the game that you wish would have gone different?
Oh yeah. But also just for like the whole of DoIP. I mean, I
Oh,
still
sorry.
like super props to Taco, like just putting it all together, like taking, and it's like it's not bad, it's like it's it still gives you some reason to go around, but it was like really cool to see you weave it all together, and like it makes sense why we're going where we're going. And then like I was like excited each week, like, oh my god, like what are we doing next week, like this is gonna be sick. But yeah, so biggest regret, honestly, it's for Fevrin. I wish there was a reason for me to like do the religious paladin arc earlier, because I so wanted there to be a moment where Fevrin's like, I don't know, someone's down, maybe Rumshoe's down, like the Banshee, and Fevrin's like, oh my god, I can't let you die, and like puts his hands on him and like casts healing hands, and like that's how he's like, what? Like I was very excited for that as a potential RP moment, but other than that, I just enjoyed the whole ride, it was fun getting to see everyone develop and have some stories. And I mean, you literally like see the random kind of mercenary people like become literal friggin' heroes. Like we had so many of those like 90s freeze frame moments in this. It was awesome.
Welcome to
But
the last session where the DM starts to tear up a little bit. I hate all of you.
You're letting your babies off into the wild.
I am.
Just
I was
like
trying to be
Tarvalar.
stoic, but it wasn't. It's not happening.
You've been obliterated roast.
Yeah, I've been obliterated. That God, I fucking hated you for that session because I was like, "Fuck you for being creative." It made me up my game. I loved it. Honestly, that was one of my. It's not even like I made it canon. I loved it so much it was gonna be canon. Just because it's like, you have these sessions where it's like, we're in town and we're doing shit and all this, and you try to speed through it, and there's nights where, oh, we go to bed, and there's only so much you can do in a campaign with it without it being just a feeling of kind of either dragging or whatever, to where it's good to have those spin-off sessions where in the downtime something goes on. And I fucking love the fact, and I really love how you and Equa kind of took over for that while I was away visiting friends and family that I hadn't seen in a while. Y'all really took the reins and y'all did something special for the Doit crew, and I felt that. I felt like watching them. I was like, I really like that y'all did that for me, and I really appreciate that. So to Equa and Grizz, thank both of you for stepping up for that. I really like Droop's Day Out, and I love how both of them were about Droop. I love that shit. Or like had Droop in it in some fashion. But I love the whole, we're gonna play D&D, but it's not called D&D. It's Droop. It's Taverns and Campers.
Yeah.
And
The goblin
I loved
equivalent.
it so much.
Where
And I
they
really
go-
loved how Valieta was in there in some fashion, laying like
course.
prostrated on the ground, and
Nap
just
from
sitting there.
neck.
But
Um,
anyway, I'm getting emotional. Baka,
yeah,
same question, man. I'm sorry.
no, I wanted to be on the opposite side of everybody else. I think here with this adventure. As far as I don't think it's getting its fair shake because everybody's thinking of it as a module, which I don't think it was intended to be. I think it was like an in between of a module and a setting is what they were trying to go for, especially because it does come off of the back of Lost Mine of Phandelver where you're in that same area.
It's like a casual kind of game.
Yeah, it's like a skeleton of a campaign is what they're trying to give you. Like you can do these things, and this is what happens at the end. And I think what might have killed a lot of it is that we went into it being like, we're going to do this campaign to kill this dragon, not where we should have started like level 1 adventurers being like, we're here to make money and be cool and be adventurers and do these fun little jobs, and then there is a dragon now and we have to mess with. So I think that just kind of killed. Like I think it was being thought
that's
of
what
in
y'all
the wrong
did
way.
though too. I felt
Yeah.
like that's kind of the progression y'all went was, hey, we're gonna deal with this. Dragon comes later. We'll deal with that later.
Yeah.
We've got
But I
pressing
think
issues.
us as the players went into it mentally thinking we're doing this because there is a dragon at the end of this, and we have to make that road to it. Whereas it's with the characters, yeah, they were like, we're here to help Phandalin. I think even some of us were like, we have to go do this to kill dragon. But yeah, I think if you go into it being like, we're just little level 1 idiots that are just here to help the town and make some money, and then get thrown into that, I think that's what it's made to do. And to think about it in that way, I think is how they thought of it when they were making it.
I want to jump off that.
Go ahead.
But they market it to new players, which is a mistake.
Yeah, yeah, it's not great marketing, perhaps. Like, I haven't read the thing, so I don't know what it is like, actually.
The way I read this was it's for new players, a DM that probably knows what they're doing, and it's just to give. To me, it's like, okay, so you got the starter set, which is a good setting, good campaign, good little quest to do. The essentials kit is like, so that's whenever you go to a restaurant and it's like, oh, here's our menu, you order something. And it's a really weird fucking comparison. The starter set is like, here's a meal. The essentials kit was like a buffet with no coherency to it. You go in there and you're like, 1 minute you've got orange chicken on the plate next to like a bunch of like next to potato salad. Makes no sense. It's to give you a sampler of everything that D&D has to offer as far as rules and different things to implement in possible future campaigns if you want to make your own. It's got different rules, it's got different traps, it's got pretty much all of their different gameplay elements in one all-encompassing adventure.
Yeah.
Which is why it even takes you to a level past the starter set.
Yeah. That, and Wizards does a thing where at the beginning of their games, they're trying to get you familiar with the area that you're in. And that's why you're like, if this, you're going all over the place. Without giving away too many spoilers, Icewind Dale, it's like that. Like, right now, we're going around the 10 towns, learning about the area, doing random nonsense in each town. So yeah, like, we're at the beginning, that's kind of what they do, is they put you in different areas, like, hey, this is what's over here, this is what's going on over here, hey, there's something over here. And it's not always all connected, because that's kind of how real life is too. Everything's not connected in every spot, and everywhere you go. So yeah, I think it is made to be more of a skeleton rather than a coherent module that you kind of take pieces that you want and put them together and that kind of stuff. Yeah, I think you did very well with adding in that flesh around the skeleton.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is what this made. But yeah, I think it should have been marketed as more of a, like, I think they should have leaned into this is after the starters kit kind of thing instead of calling it the essentials kit, because that's kind of vague. Because essentials does make it sound like an add-on, kind of, but not all the way. I think if they would have done better naming scheme to be like, this is added on to the starters kit, would have helped it in that regard.
So with the essentials kit, it actually says that it can take place anywhere in the timeline. It can take place before Phandalin, after Phandalin. I mean, not during, I guess. Maybe it actually might mention mixing it in with Phandelver. I'm not sure. But I know it doesn't specify. It doesn't specify when it happens.
Yeah, that's why it has to be a skeleton rather than a set thing. Like you brought up with the Sildar being the Town Master, which obviously we made happen, but they just have to put the Town Master hiding, because you don't know what's happened to him in whatever's happened before this or after this, in the world that these people are using it in.
Like in the Essentials kit, it literally says Harbin Wester is so scared of the dragon, he locks himself in his house and will not,
which is fair,
visually see any
which
of
is
the
fair. If
It
there was
is
a fucking
fair.
dragon
There's
flying
a
around, I'd
fucking
lock myself in my
dragon.
house.
We're not used to this shit. This dragon just showed up and was like, "This is my house now, bitches. Get the fuck out," to the orcs. And now all chaos is consuming the land. The
Yeah.
ecosystem is fucked. Which is why the griffin was, in what was that, session 3? The griffin was wounded by the manticore.
Oh, the manticore.
And as far as your biggest regret,
Biggest
Well-
regret? Regret?
regret. My southern accent's coming out. I'm Wade. I like to hunt gators.
Like, I want to say going full healer, but I also like that. It's weird because I like playing a class where I can just walk in and smash things faces in. But I want to get that experience of playing other classes. So I don't. It's a regret, but also not at the same time. If that makes sense.
I guess let me rephrase that. What your biggest regret with how like Tarvalar would have went about things? I feel like I've done a poor job with asking that question.
I think being forced into attacking with wild shape, it's just, like that's just an unfortunate thing of we're gonna fucking lose if I don't get aggressive here. But I didn't really want him to be a character who's like, I'm gonna become a tiger and rip this thing's throat out. It's just kind of that's just how that fight went. So, I think that's a regret that I was forced into. I'd say as far
To
as
go to
Tarvalar.
one of my favorite moments, and with what you just said, was the playing the 2 ogres
I was gonna say, yeah, I like
that were
that
in
one.
that fight because you turned. I think that was the first time you had turned into
That was my first wild shape.
a cat, and it's like, "Oh, can't believe you got killed. It's a fucking kitty cat." It's like, "Oh, show up, Greg, just attack it." It's just I loved playing those stupid characters, and you're just a cat, and they're just dumb, and
I like that because that was just a Tarvalar's being a punching bag right now while everybody else gets their stuff together. He's just getting one hit by the ogres out of the panther back into Tarvalar and then turning back into an ogre or a panther again. I like that use of wild shape.
There was a lot of stuff in that episode I liked, especially with Droop like going in and like not Droop, I'm sorry, Rumshoe going in and talking about how he was the what was it that we had said you were? You were the not Red Brand.
I
What was
killed all the
killer
crag
you were?
moths. Yeah,
The Cragmaw killer. You were the Cragmaw killer.
Yeah.
And the orcs were like, hell yeah, which that should have been like a little flag there that these orcs weren't tied in with Cragmaw. They were another faction. And I like that because they were like, oh, this little fucking goblin killed the Cragmaws or whatever, He's cool with us. And it just went downhill from there. With how everything progressed.
It's unfortunate.
That is when Fevrin learned D&D is not Assassin's Creed.
It is definitely not. Especially if you roll a nat 1 and you fall off a tower.
It can be Assassin's Creed when you're like, level 15 or something. I don't know, but
just don't roll any ones, bud, and you'll do just fine. With that, is there any questions that all of you have for me?
Yeah, the thing you keep saying you'll bring up later. How you're disappointed about the memories or something.
Disappointed about the memories.
Or what the memories made you think of that then makes you wish maybe Dorp was longer or something?
Okay, yeah. So you're asking what my biggest regret is with Dorp.
Yeah. Good phrasing it.
So there were a lot of moments with Doip. I kind of planned ahead in December before we ran this campaign. I planned a lot of stuff, but there were moments in it where I was like, well, they'll just go here. That's what they're going to do. And I left it at that. And I used what the campaign had to offer, which is tying back in with what Grizz was talking about with how the campaign is written in the module. Which it's a module. It's not a campaign. Don't look at it that way. And with the last session, I remember I woke up that morning and I was thinking, there's a lot of moments with these characters with their backstories that haven't been fleshed out. So the player or the viewers don't know, as well as the players, that much about these characters, how deep it goes with each of them. Even like with Tarvalar's, uh, even with Tarvalar, he was a backseat character. But I still wanted to add that moment where it shows like a human element. Even though this is a fantasy world, there's different races other than human, obviously. But that relatable element of this is a being that is sentient, that is going about their life. And I just woke up and I was like, I want to add that. I want to give the viewers and the players that substance to understand one another. So I woke up and I banged out a few paragraphs, which is funny because some of you went the way that I thought you would in the interactable flashback and what I had in the parentheses. And my biggest regret is that I wish I would have done that more. Not that particular thing, but been creative in that way, like I was in the last episode with the rest of the campaign. Instead of just adding little things here and there at the spur of the moment, I wish I would have planned more in the week for those types of things. That's my biggest regret, is that I should have I feel like I should have put more into it, which in my future campaigns that I run either on the internet or in real life, I will add more with each session, because that was my biggest learning experience. Was one, I took a fucking essentials kit that had no story and made a story out of it, but I'm the type of person where I want to add a little bit more each time. So I don't think I'll ever reach the point where I'm completely content. Like, I'll be happy, but I won't be completely content with what I have done. But my biggest regret is that I wish I would have added more to creativity, to give you more to interact with. There's a lot of moments where I was super happy with what I had done. There's some moments where I was like, I could have done that way fucking better. But we're all holding up.
I was
Or-
just copying Meyore. I don't know why he was doing
Copy
it.
Grizz.
It's like a few, if you're gonna
But I like the
you-
flashbacks because it gave you all an ability to interact. I really loved y'all's campfire scene because I was like, look, this is the last campfire scene you're gonna have. Do something with it, please.
Campfire scenes and
And
flashbacks are my favorite things in D&D.
you did it perfectly. And what's funny is Equal was the one that kept reminding me, like, hey, that was a pretty good campfire scene. And I was like, shit, I keep forgetting to give him inspiration for that campfire scene because it was pretty good. It was a good scene. But to answer your question, Meyore, that is my biggest regret, is that I wish I would have been more
Let
creative.
Rumshoe be in the campaign.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
What would Tarvalar and Donabella heard if they would have failed their wisdom saves?
That is correct. So, Grizz, are you still in the Roll20 campaign with the...
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to do it. We're going to
Here, let
start
me
with
turn it up a
Donabella.
little bit.
I'm going to turn the music down. And this is what you would have heard. Donabella.
Oh, a keen mind you have. Help me, and I will teach you knowledge ne'er found in any book.
And this is for you, Tarvalar. And it went away. Where did it go? Ah, there it is.
Forget your wild mother. Join with me, and I will give you the power to shape nature to your will.
Boy,
That's it.
can't do that, bud. I'm not doing it for me, I'm doing it for her.
Equal
So-
asked, what was your favorite voice to do, Taco?
me, damn, I wish you would have put that in the Q&A. Like, that takes some thought. I will say I like doing Droopy, even though it was terrible. I'm so glad I got rid of Elsa early on. I'm not gonna lie.
Thank you.
So fucking glad. I just
Elsa's
wanted
gonna be
to
a
throw
main
her in there,
Get rid of
Just,
Elsa altogether.
which ties into one of Nisa's questions, which was Elsa ever slated to be a sacrifice for the greater good? No, I just wanted her to get the fuck out of Phandalin, honestly. I just felt like it would be a good tie-in with Phandelver Season 1. My favorite voice, though, was probably... It would have to be Falcon. I actually had more planned with Falcon, but I felt like his story needed to come to a close. It wasn't something that was supposed to linger or last. It was supposed to be kind of a one and done type of thing. So Falcon his voice is actually based off of an Morse character that I guess starred as Keldric Fairbor. But he is definitely not a vampire in the Essentials kit. He is just a hunter. Just a hunter. That's it. He has no butler. He has no kid. He is literally just a hunter with a lodge. That's it. I will say I did like playing the butler though. Oh, let's go clean your room. Get it tidied up. And there's wine given to me from Grista. But I hated doing the Scottish accent of the two dwarves. I
Dwarves at
hated
the
that
beginning.
shit. It's like,
Yeah.
That was great.
I'm not going in there. There's a fucking slime in there.
That was pretty good. I thought it was good.
But yeah, that as far Equa, that was my favorite character voice. And as Grizz has told me time and time again, I seem to have picked up Sildar pretty well. It's like, oh yes, go to the town and if you can, see if you can acquisition a few orders on my behalf. I'd say Barthen, but that's kind of my same normal voice. I just got to make it a little deeper. Where it's like,
Yeah.
what y'all do with my horses? Like, they up there, my horses are dead. Stuff like that. It's very easy. Just Southern Texas accent. But
Someone needs to make a dwarf with a French accent.
I played a Christmas elf with a French accent. It was terrible.
That was
accent,
French?
but it was terrible. It was terrible. I just said that.
Well,
But
is that
anyway,
it?
I think that's pretty much it, man. I want to fucking cry right now so bad.
Do it.
Do it. You
Do
won't.
it.
Let us
kiss my
drink your
ass.
tears, bottle them, and we will sell them.
There we go. That's where the jar comes in.
Wait, hold up.
Oh, we got one more.
This time that y'all were here together, how was it to grow and get to know each other's characters and personalities in real life? Okay, here's a good one. This is from Maples. This is gonna be the last question.
Mhm.
Over this time that y'all were here together, how was it to grow and get to know each other's characters and personalities in real life? And what was y'all's favorite moment y'all had on break or just in chat? That's actually a good question because we haven't talked about the stuff that we did behind the scenes as far as the breaks. It was in the game. So that's actually a pretty good question.
So
We're always
she
at each
she
other's
says
necks.
characters, but also in real life. So
So I would say the way that that's explained, I guess, the way I would take that, I'd accidentally open up a program, so my computer's gonna lag. I guess the way that I would read that is how did knowing the character as you are, not the character. So let's say Meyore, you play Fevrin. Grizz, what is your impression of Fevrin?
okay, a Fevrin.
That's how I'm reading that
Yeah.
question.
Oh.
And I'm not asking you specifically
Yes,
Fevrin, I'm asking
yeah.
you encompassing of all the characters, but
Yeah.
just to clarify.
So Fevrin at the beginning was a little shit. Who had the one up. No, I actually really liked. I think I liked Rumshu and Feverin's relationship the best in this campaign because it was that. It was very competitive, but I think they were also strangely the closest. It was like competitive, but they were very. I felt like they were close. I don't. Maybe that's just me. I don't know, but
I got that.
I always enjoyed those moments. So I really liked Feverin. This was my first time meeting Meyore through this game, and he's a super awesome dude, and we've already told him we want him on more shows in the future, so hopefully he wants to do that. So hopefully this won't be the last time you see him. Tarvalar, God, this is a hard question for me. Oh, God.
Well, you're all gonna have to answer the same question because I'm gonna fucking cry here in like 10 minutes.
Tarvalar is something else, man. He just hits you different. No, just I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to say things.
Just
I don't
say
know.
it.
You
Like,
you hate him.
how do you, as a human being in the real world, view Tarvalar?
I think
Especially
Tarvalar's a
coming
great
from a
character.
DM standpoint.
I
That's
think
the question.
Tarvalar was the funniest character in a group of all of us being a lot of comedic characters. Let's say comedic toned characters. Tarvalar was the funniest by far. And then Donabella was the only one that like seemed to be somewhat serious, but she still was a comedic character as well. And her freaking robot became the star of the show. So I don't know.
Oh, just to clarify too, one of the funnier moments I felt was when, and you do this a couple of times, Meyore, where you didn't exactly understand what was being explained to you, and so you would reply in a way that made no fucking sense whatsoever, and you wanted Donabella to get on a slide that you would make in the Dwarven excavation and have her go down the slide in her shell to break through the secret door.
No, I was gonna take the pole of collapsing and hit her like a hockey puck to knock her to it.
That's what it was. Yes, that shit. It's like, wait, no, you don't understand. You can open the door. There's just a slit. It shows that it's the door. You probably just push on it and it would open. And he goes to the most top, like, he goes full throttle. Let's fucking smash it with a turtle shell. And, Grizz, what is your, if you can think of it, because it is the breaks. There's a lot of stuff we say during the breaks that we don't really remember. But your funniest moment and probably the break where we would like calm down for a bit, go do our stuff, because we would talk every now and then about that. Or during the break.
I got the memory of a goldfish, so I don't remember. I can't remember a specific moment.
Then we'll
I feel
skip that
bad.
portion.
Yeah.
Breaks is us walking away from the computers, so not too much happens
Yeah.
during breaks, guys.
Yeah, my favorite part of the break is it's not even a break. It's when we would start. Grizz would get everything set up, which he did tonight, and say,
Oh.
"Wait a minute." They're like, "Okay, we got it all set up. I'll be right back," and he would leave. I think he goes to the bathroom right before.
Yeah,
I
gotta
know.
go pee right before we go live. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to go in the middle of the show.
So anyway, to
Alright.
continue on with this, Baka, same question.
So as far as Favren goes, like Favren was great because I love having new players in campaigns, especially with a bunch of other experienced players, because you get the moments like I dumped the invisible dust over the ground,
Oh.
and it's with Favren. It was one thing after, and pretty early on, like Rumshu got to do it in game because that's how his character is to be the doomsayer. But as a player, as soon when Fevrin was just going off and doing shit by himself, I'm like, he's dead. He's gonna die. He's the first one to die. It's fine, and we just got to get over that now. But yeah, like that just constant nonsense happening. Fevrin climbing up the building into where the mosquito things were, and all this stuff it was great. And then we got to yell at him, and then he got to get his ass kicked by a dragon, and then the turn was great for him to have his hero turn. I loved Donabella just like being the sassy one, the "I told you so" person, because I love playing that character, the "I told you so" person.
Volita did that a couple of times
Yeah,
in
she'll do it
Phandelver.
more in season 2. I can guarantee it. Um, yeah, I like having that character is always good. The one that's thinks she's smarter than everybody else, but may not always be all the time is great. Of course, I love Rumshoe. I was thinking about this the other day. I love all of Grizz's characters. They're all so great. But having Rumshoe coming in and being a surprise, and just hearing Rumshoe swear is my favorite thing in the world. It's that voice. Just
Yeah.
hearing him swear is great. Especially if it was after Fevrin did something stupid and Rumshoe said it with a monotone voice. Just, Fevrin, what the shit? It's just so fucking funny.
Yeah.
That was good.
I wanted to add in, because Tarvalar was a background character, I got to do stuff to entertain myself a lot of the time too, that I don't think came across on camera. Especially with the night vision goggles. Like if we were in a place I was using the night vision goggles while other people were talking stuff, I would just be like doing this and trying to make my eyes as wide as I could, just to try and mimic the night vision goggles. And it made me laugh inside so much. So I just wanted to share that part with everybody.
Meyore.
Okay. Yeah, so Rumshoe, that was like really fun just because it was like, not exactly like Fevrin looking in the mirror, but it was like a nice kind of two sort of brokenish assholes who's like dealing with shit how they can. So Rumshoe was always hilarious. And our little, not feud, but competitive spirit we had going was always fun. So loved Rumshoe and Tarvalar, like kind of I loved the just sort of like that hippie no well, like the uncle who's like, what the hell are you doing, kid? Like, come on. So I loved that relationship he kind of had with everyone. And then Donabella, I just enjoyed, like like Sharp said, just the kind of sassy, like in the corner, like, are you kidding me? Like, you idiot, without calling you an idiot. Like, it was very, like, she always had the very pointed comments. I loved it. So yes, the whole gang was awesome. I feel like we had a very fun group. And as for like how I kind of interpreted that question too, like I didn't know any of these people except for Taco, and I was like barely knew Taco. Like he would come in our Destiny chats and like
I would
say
say
random
weird shit when I would jump into that chat. I'm just gonna
stuff. Yeah.
say that. I would show up and they would know, oh god, something weird's about to get said.
Yeah,
I
so
have
like
no filter in the TNW chat because I helped
and
make that fucking channel and I didn't care what I said.
so there's just like random funny ass dude who like swear to God has the exact same voice as my stepbrother, so it's just funny. Invites me to play D&D with all these people, and it's like it's really cool to actually, get to know everybody a little bit better as well. So yeah, and get me in on all this and loving D&D. So there was definitely a lot of growth involved in and out of game.
My
I wanna
biggest
say-
love was the fact that you remind me of me in a way where it was Grizz invited me to play Phandelver and I got to know all these people and I fell in love with these people. And I knew you from TMW and I was like, he's got good mic quality, good camera quality, and I know that he's very interested in this. Because I brought it up with the Pathfinder game. I was like, "Hey, would you like to play a Pathfinder game with me?" And you had said yes, and it never came to fruition. And when I got offered the opportunity to run Doit, I was like, Meyore, he for sure would want to play this. And just like what you're saying reminds me a lot of whenever I played Phandelver. And at the end of that, it's one of those things where it's like, I'm just playing this character, I'm just playing this game, whatever. And then it's like, holy shit, it means so much to me now. It's not like how I thought it would be. It means a great deal. And I love the fact that you got to meet these players, you got to meet the community here at Swindler's Den, loving community. And I love how you have that same dynamic.
Yeah, you know what you both
It hits
did
me hard.
after playing D&D for a little bit?
What's
immediately
that? Buy
both-
all the
You
fucking
immediately
books.
both spent like $300 on like every single book.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I have $800 worth of shit behind me. Actually, I have I have probably $1,000 worth of retail value behind
I told
me.
Equal we just ruined Fevrin or Meyore's life when you started buying all the books.
I was gonna say
Dude,
the
you
way
went
that
ham, dude. When you bought that Essentials kit, I was like, do not fucking read that book.
I was gonna say the way Tommy introduced Meyore to us, like saying how he found somebody to play, and he's like, "Yeah, I know this guy. He's got really good mic quality and stuff, and he's got a really sexy ass voice." We're like,
Yeah, I did say that. I was like, he's got a sexy ass voice. Because I remember I was in a chat with him. I'd never seen his face before. It's like the first night I think I met you, I like hopped into the channel and you had talked, and I asked Cardinal, I was like, who the fuck has that sexy voice? And it's like, and then he was like, damn, dude, you sound sexy as shit. And you showed up. It was like, dude, you're young as fuck. You should not have a voice like that. But yeah, he's got that pretty boy look, you know. He's actually a really intelligent guy, and I really like that you played.
Yeah,
this
he's a
game.
doctor. We found out he's a doctor.
Yeah.
We were all guessing his, his job, and that's what we came to the conclusion. He's a doctor. So, on that note, before he tries to correct me, everybody interrupt if he speaks.
Dr. Meyore.
Aging Dr. Meyore.
But
Aging Dr. Meyore.
I do like that how you have the same dynamic I did whenever I played in Phandelver. So to continue on to just speed this along here, Dyto, same question, and this will be it.
Yeah, so what the question is how Dyto thinks of the characters?
Yes, how Dyto thinks of the characters, not Donatello.
Yeah, so Dyto. So I'll start with Tarvalar because I loved him so much. As Dyto, loved him so much. So in my head, Tarvalar was like, you know, when you're a kid, you have that like one old guy on your block who's just chill and like never raises their voice, but always tells you to get off their lawn. It's like I can just hear like Tarvalar just being that guy in the neighborhood, like, oh, how you doing there, bud? Why don't you go ahead and just get off the lawn? The grass, needs to grow. And with Fevrin, like, I, as a player, when he started playing was, I related him to Flynn Rider. And that's my favorite Disney movie is Tangled. So it was like I as a player loved him immediately. And then with Rumshoe, it's like, oh my gosh, we're all gonna die because Rumshoe was a basket case in Phandelver.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
As for like how breaks were, it's like it's just how easily we all just joked with each other. Like out of nothing is like we would all just start laughing and joking around. It put a nice nice little rest if we were doing like something intense or emotional before or about to come up on one after the break.
Drop the mic.
I'm sorry, I'm kind of like super emotional right now. Did you talk about Rumshoe at all?
I was gonna say Rumshoe healing for the first time.
I
I loved Rumshoe healing for the first time. It was so good.
That's true.
Just any of those flashes of him, like bringing inspiration from season 1, were great.
Oh, to answer that question as a DM, Tarvalar. I thought it was funny how you would look at certain situations and add your humor to it, especially when it was like, I don't know the exact quote, but I don't know how to explain this, but it would be one of those situations where if you were super civilized and you would understand how someone was saying something, you would get it. But Tarvalar would be like, no, that's not how it is. It's supposed to be this way, you know. But it's like that little, very literal talk that Tarvalar would give, the literal speech. Severin. I hated how your character was a generic rogue for the first half of the game, and then you were talking to me more and more, and you were explaining how you eventually wanted to alter your character to add growth. I really liked that. I really like Rumshoe. He added that levity as well as the knowledge of the region and how you would go about explaining things and just the humor of it. You know, like Five Finger Fillet in the Sleeping Giant was just hilarious. The fact that you did that in a like generic little peaceful fucking town tavern. You didn't even do it at wait
Sleeping Giant is Gris's,
Is
right?
the, yeah, that's
Stonehill
the
is the other
tavern.
one.
Stonehill is the other one. So you did it at the Stonehill. You didn't even do it at the Sleeping Giant, which is the more rambunctious place. And Dyto, as much as I'm gonna be honest. Originally, I hated the fact that you were gonna play a Ninja Turtle. I like the other idea of the monk, because to me it felt unique and it was really cool. But I do like the fact that Donabella was able to create this different layer of a different dynamic of things, especially with your backstory. I really liked all of you, and I thank all of you for allowing me to run you through a game. And right before we end, we're gonna end on the scene. All of the players return to Phandalin. They go to Sildar, who's in the town waiting. As you all enter the town master's hall, you see Sildar sitting there, tired, leaned back by the fire, rubbing his temples of the stress he's been under. You explain to him how the dragon should no longer be a problem. You have felled the beast. And that Icespire Hold is home to nary an orc or a dragon. A few days later, you're all invited, as you're all doing your own things, to the center of the town by the memorial that has a small brazier lit for those who died during the raid on the castle that Tarvalar now resides at. As all of the town members that you've all grown to know and love are gathered around, Sildar presents to each of you a small medallion with a lanyard to go around your neck, each with the town symbol of Phandalin, with a small crown on the base of it, completely encased in gold, and on the back, each of your names are etched. And on the front, Hero is etched as well, with a small griffin in the background. You're all awarded a hero status in Phandalin and told that no matter what, you'll always have a home in this backwards town just off of the high road. And this is where we will tell our final tale of the Dragon of Icespire Peak. Thank you all so much for watching and supporting the show. We hope to see you in the future. In the meantime, definitely check out Amoris, which plays on Mondays, and check out the Icewind Dale Rhyme the Frost Maiden, which plays every Wednesday here on Twitch. Thank you all so much for watching. And this is where we sign out.
Deuces.